Hi, thanks so much for subscribing to the channel and also just giving me a view and watching the first episode. It's really encouraging, it's really exciting, and I'm excited to share with you my second episode, which is all about how I chose my kiln. Now, the kiln is going to be the heart of your studio. It's also quite an expensive thing to buy. I decided I didn't want to go down the second-hand route. You can purchase many second-hand kilns out there. I think just because I'm a novice in running a kiln and managing a kiln, I wanted to start afresh and get a new big oven. So I spoke to a few friends and I got some advice about where I could get this kiln. Firstly, I was pointed to the Northern Kilns. They provide an amazing service, what seems like a 2-year warranty on your purchase. They'll help you install the kiln if it's got a slightly tricky installation, like you have to get up some stairs. I mean, these are heavy objects, so obviously that's a great help. But they'll also talk you through the programming, and there's quite a nice care package, but you obviously pay a premium for that care package. And then I spoke to my friend Blue, who runs Dom Shop. She's an incredible ceramicist. Check out her website, brilliant work. She has a Nabotham and she was singing its praises, and she bought it about 3 years ago from a guy called Bill who runs Sedgwick Potteries. I rang Bill, he's a great guy, but he gave me quite a lot of options of the sort of kiln I could buy. He also quite swiftly talked me out of buying from Northern Kilns, mainly because he said he didn't think I really needed that care package. He said he could help me on the phone with the programming, with the controller. Also, my installation is relatively simple, and if I felt that I could cope with it, basically what he provides is he will get the kiln to the door. Basically, you get a roadside delivery. So in the background here, I'm showing you bits of my studio, sort of before and after of gutting it recently, which was really, really brilliant and cathartic. And I could see the space sort of emerge of where I was going to work, which is really exciting. But I decided to put the kiln next to the garage door. What you need to consider is that the kiln needs 30 centimetres to be 30 centimetres away from each wall if you're going to put it in a corner, which is where I was putting it. And obviously my studio isn't enormous. I think a lot of people have space constraints in their studios, and so a top loader was a very obvious entry-level kiln for me. You can get them on casters. If you really don't have enough space in your studio, you can push it into the corner when you're not using it, and then you can pull it out away from the wall. The other thing to factor in making your decision, making my decision, was definitely like the size of the work I make. I tend to make quite large things, but I think also what you realise is you'll adapt to whatever you have as well. So the one I was sort of looking at was this Nabotham 100, top loader 100. It's 48 centimetres in diameter, this is the internal measurement, and then it's 57 centimetres high. The other thing that was useful for me to do was to actually draw out a blueprint of like on a piece of cardboard of all the diameters and the external measurement, because actually the Nabotham has quite a large control panel at the back, which kind of makes it that bit bigger. So when I phoned Bill, he gave me loads of options because he asked me what kilowattage I could go up to. Now, what's really important to realise is you're not going to be able to plug one of these kilns into a normal plug in your wall socket. You're going to need to speak to an electrician, and you're going to need to factor in that you're going to have to get an isolator installed. I have a friend who's an electrician. He was great. He came to look at the house, look at the electrics. The house is quite old. It's a sort of semi-detached suburban house, and it can cope with 100 kilowatts running through it all at once. So basically he said that he wouldn't advise me going over 10 kilowatts. So I basically said to Bill, I maybe would like the height of the kiln to be a bit bigger in terms of the internal measurement. So he gave me a few other options, and the other company, there was a Naberthon 140, which didn't give me more height but gave me more width on the diameter, and then there was this other company called Kitek, which I really liked the look of initially, but it was 10.8 kilowatts, so I was like a little bit worried, even though the electrician said that would be fine. And it was 51 centimeters by 70 diameter by 72 centimeters high. So you can see there's like very small increments of difference, but I got into a real tears about what I was gonna do. But then I started to think about the running costs. Now, running costs are really obviously very important. It's no point in getting a kiln that's a bit bigger and then it's like, well, it stops you running it more regularly because it's a bit more expensive to run. So a really good calculation to use to work out how much your kiln will cost to fire is to think about, you take the kilowatts on the kiln, and then you think about the firing time times 0.6. Now 0.6 is taking into consideration that the kiln won't be running at 7 kilowatts for the whole of the firing process. It's really only about 60% of the process, that with a bisque at least, that it's going to be firing at full pelt. So so you have that, and then you times that by the cost per kilowatt that your energy provider charges you. So my calculation is 7 kilowatts times 6.5 hours for an average bisque times 0.6 times 0.17 pence. My kiln costs me to do a bisque fire £7.73. So you know, taking that into consideration, then thinking that, you know, the you've got the glaze firing as well, I'm looking at around £18 to sort of fire my kiln, which I think is really affordable and a really great solution for me. With all those things in mind, the running cost, the dimensions, the kilowattage, the space that you have in your studio, the kind of work that you're going to make or you think you might make. For me, the Naberthon 100 sort of ticked so many of the boxes that I decided to go for that one. Hooray! I made a decision. It did take me ages to make that decision, so I hope that this has helped you in making your decision if you're making one, or if you're thinking about getting a kiln in the future, that this might help you figure out which kiln to get. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. And also give me a like and give me some comments down below. Please do. If there's, you know, if I can answer any of your questions, please write them below, and I'm really happy to have a conversation with you. Okay, thanks so much for watching.